pretty hot out here filming a video for you guys at about 111 degrees, but figured it's been a few days since I filmed one. So today's topic I wanted to go over was something that I've always found interesting, but I wanted to dig in a little bit deeper. And this is about the number of permanently lost Bitcoins that have never been found. The private keys are lost, people mine them on old hard drives, and a lot of various things. And we're gonna make the distinction between sort of confirmed or potentially confirmed total lost Bitcoins, aka loss of private keys, and the difference between dormant coins that we can either assume are lost or are just simply dormant until any given time when whales wake up in old wallets and such. So let's get right into it. So first let's define what these lost Bitcoins, quote unquote, actually mean, right? So basically, these are inaccessible due to lost passwords or lost private keys. Obviously, the passwords would be to the wallet and the private keys are within the wallet to the corresponding Bitcoin. But so it's estimated that right now that there's approximately 7.8 million Bitcoins that have been lost. And we'll get into details in a minute about how many of those are confirmed versus how many are potentially loss of private keys or just dormant. But that's a lot. That's translating to almost $484 billion as of recently, give or take, on the current Bitcoin price, which as of shooting this is around $62,000. It's defined as lost Bitcoin. It refers to holders that can no longer locate it in various types of wallets, including software, hardware, custodial, and non-custodial options. Bitcoin is genuinely lost. It is irretrievable. Again, it is, if you lose the private key, there is no way out, and there is no way of accessing that Bitcoin under any circumstance ever. It is gone, period, end of story. While temporary misplacement is possible, such as transferring funds to the wrong wallet, complete loss of access renders the Bitcoin permanently inaccessible. So again, this is no way of retrieving, no recovery seed phrase, no backup options whatsoever. So how do Bitcoins usually get lost? And it's actually a little more in depth than I actually thought. I mean, obviously it comes down to no longer having access to the private key, but there's a lot of different factors that kind of go into it. So you have inaccessible wallets. This could be some early adopters and miners storing their Bitcoins in wallets that are now inaccessible due to lost passwords, hardware failures, or other reasons. Misunderstanding the importance of the seed phrase poses a significant risk. Seed phrase loss renders the wallet and associated crypto inaccessible. Storing seed phrases directly or securely in a safe is recommended to prevent loss. So that's obviously one big way, right? So you also have destroyed private keys. Now this is losing access to the private keys associated with the Bitcoin wallet address. And again, this is a permanent, irretrievable option. The private key is the key to everything. You also have corresponding things like negligence. Over years, people have accidentally deleted wallets, discarded old hard drives that they mined on, things like that. Then you have burned coins. So some individuals intentionally involve burning Bitcoin by sending them to an address with no known private keys, effectively removing them from circulation and rendering them useless. And then of course you have the forgotten passwords and hardware failures, which is individuals who have lost access to their Bitcoins due to forgotten passwords, again, or hardware failure. So there's a few real life examples that you've probably seen on the news or you've probably heard in forums. The first most common example is someone named Rhonda Camper. My phone died from overheating, so I'm gonna have to wrap this up here in the shade, but kicking off to where we were. So we just talked about Rhonda, who lost her Bitcoin she bought in 2013, sold in 2017, and that's not even the worst of it. This guy, number 2, James Howells. So you probably heard about this in the news, but James mined about 7,500 Bitcoin using his gaming computer in 2009. Unfortunately, he accidentally threw away the hard drive containing the Bitcoin. The value of those lost coins today would be in the tens of millions of dollars. And then number 3, Stephen Thomas. Stephen was a software developer that discovered that his old Bitcoin wallet of over 7,000 Bitcoin was worth over $320 million in 2021. Stephen bought the Bitcoin holding back in 2011 when 1 BTC was worth less than 20 bucks. This still would have been a substantial investment, but nothing close to the value that it would hold over a decade later. So these are real life examples of super Bitcoin losses that are all public. And so we have a good chunk of those that we're already aware of in terms of what's already been reported by these people directly, so that we know it's a real case, right? Obviously, they could be lying. I don't see the benefit of doing that, but it's still quite interesting that we have tens of thousands of Bitcoins at this point that are already confirmed to be lost. So that goes back to the question of like how many total Bitcoins have been lost overall. And based on this article, according to the data shared by on-chain data vendor Into the Block, it appears that a substantial portion of Bitcoin's total supply has slipped out of circulation. Out of a total of a little over 19 million total Bitcoins already mined, approximately 29% have remained inactive for over the past 5 years. Implications here are significant, suggesting that a considerable amount of Bitcoins may have been irreversibly lost over time. So over 7.8 or 7.78 million coins total might have either been hodled or permanently lost. So that's a lot of coins that we don't know kind of what's going on for sure. 7.8 million coins, that's almost 30% of the overall total supply. So of course that comes back to like, can these coins ever be recovered? And as we talked about, while lost Bitcoins, like permanent loss of private keys or seed phrases, are irrecoverable, there are avenues for some potential recovery. Basically, what happens is there are some firms and some specialized users and developers that are helping users recover lost private fees. They charge fees on the services, usually a percentage, and may be able to retrieve a portion of the lost coin. As mentioned before, Rhonda bought 6 Bitcoins in 2013, priced at around $80 each. In 2017, when Bitcoin's value climbed to 20K, she tried to log in and cash out, but realized she was missing her login details. After years of unsuccessful attempts, she turned to a crypto treasure hunter, Chris and Charlie Brook. They were able to successfully recover her wallet containing 3.5 Bitcoins, which was over $175,000 at the time. So there was no disclosure on what their fee was to take that or to do that for her, but I'm sure it was a percentage of the funds that they required, or a commission for her to do that. So while it's estimated that around 20% of the lost coins could potentially be retrieved, representing a value of around $6 billion, the process isn't foolproof. Factors like encrypted private keys and failed hard drives present avenues for recovery, but success isn't guaranteed. And I think that's the most important thing, is just you have to protect your private keys, have backups, have metal backups, have redundancy. A lot of people say that having redundancy isn't as secure, but when I say redundancy, I mean have multiple private locations that only you know about, that are physical, like either buried underground, buried in a safe, distributed in different ways. And I think that having those redundancies in place in general are more secure, so long as you're the only human being on planet Earth that knows where those are. So there's some discussion about that not being as secure. I personally do that myself and have certain backups, and I have them encrypted and separated, so if someone were to come upon one, they wouldn't be able to restore the private keys. But we'll get into the details of those in a later video. But basically, with approximately half of cracked wallets turning out to be empty, this demonstrates a complex interplay between security and accessibility within the crypto landscape, where lost fortunes may still be dormant, waiting to be rediscovered. So they're saying about 20% of the total supply we don't know. There's about 29% that were in total between dormant and completely confirmed lost wallets that potentially could be gone forever, which is a lot. I mean, think about that. That means roughly only 14 to 15 million Bitcoin exists in circulation, meaning confirmed either to be hodled or to be on an exchange or what have you. But a big chunk of that, almost 30% of that, is completely unknown. So it could be gone, it could be accessed one day, but at least 9% we know for sure is completely gone forever, no questions about. This is an interesting idea of like, hey, we don't know, and we might never know the total number of Bitcoins that are lost, but it's safe to say that this is probably somewhere in the middle. I mean, 29 to 30% is a lot of coins that are lost. However, if you think about it, even if 15% of the total supply is totally lost, you know, not including Satoshi's coins, not including Hal Finney's coins, who passed away, unfortunately. I mean, there's just lots, and there's also the confirmed cases we talked about where they're just gone. There's no way to get them back, period, end of story. So it's really interesting to think that a lot of these are undervalued, and the price currently isn't based on that 21 million cap supply. In theory, it's only based on a 15 cap supply, based on these 6 to 7 million total coins have been lost, which represents hundreds of billions of dollars like we talked about. So here's some security considerations, because that's what I focus on. Bitcoin security features protect against unauthorized access, but can also hinder legitimate users. Losing access to your coins is a common challenge. So I talk about this in my free ebook, which I'll link down below, of ways to help mitigate this so that you can be prepared, make sure that you're secure on holding your self-custody wallet, making sure that you have backups and other things to make sure that if you feel like you've lost it forever, you have a way to retrieve it so that this doesn't happen to you. Between that and other options, you also want to be aware of crypto scams claiming that they can recover lost Bitcoin. So always verify legitimacy of services that claim that, yeah, I can get your Bitcoin back. Like, do your due diligence on them and ask them specific questions about how they're going to go about doing it to just verify that they're legitimate. 3 things you can watch out for right there. 1, avoiding firms that ask for upfront payment. That's a huge red flag. If you're ever in this situation, I hope you're not, but don't do that. Verify their physical address and their communication channel. So make sure you know where to locate them. If you give them access or information to access the coins, make sure that you can physically contact them. Make sure that they're giving you not a burner phone. Make sure that you can reach them if they kind of get your information and then disappear forever, right? And then never ever share any sensitive or identifying information. Obviously, no bank accounts. Don't give them bank accounts. Don't give them your social. Don't give them, you know, previous passwords that you use. They may ask for, hey, what do you think your password might be? You know, things like that. Don't give them that, because that's usually the sign of a scam. If they're experienced in this type of recovery, then they're not going to need that information from you. So hope this was helpful. I kind of just found the concept and the topic like really interesting, that like, hey, there's a lot of Bitcoins that are potentially just lost. They're gone forever. So in this particular case, it's like we might be way undervalued on the total Bitcoins. Like the current market price now, a lot of people are looking at based out of 21 million, but a lot of people don't know that there's already millions of coins that are permanently lost, anywhere between 9 to 29%. And there's that gray area of 20% where there's no way of knowing. They could wake up one day, we assume that they're lost, but I think it's probably somewhere in the middle. I think it's probably at about 15% that are permanently lost, and another 15% of just people that mined and hodled coins back in 2009, 2010, 2011, and are whales, and they're just kind of waiting for their perfect day to wake up and move those private keys and Bitcoins to another wallet. So I hope this was interesting. I know I kind of had to stop the video halfway through, which was kind of rough, but it's really hot out here, so wanted to still go outside and make a video for you guys. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns on this, let me know. Let me know if you think that my estimate about 15% of total coins is lost, or if you have a better estimate, or if you have some other information that I wasn't able to get. But I was using some on-chain data to kind of look at this, and I just thought it was interesting to share with you guys. But hope this was helpful. Go ahead and click on this video right here on the screen if you don't want to wait for my next video to come out. And until next time, Crypto Renegade out.